Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 14th episode of Experience Matters at Engineered Learnings. And today we have another expert with us, Dhruv. Dhruv has joined us today. Dhruv is from the MHRM batch of 2023. IIT Kharagpur. He has passed out of the MHRM. And this is the video for those who have been repeatedly asking about HR courses, repeatedly asking about MHRM courses at IIT Kharagpur. None other than Dhruv is with us to guide us today through the MHRM journey. Dhruv is currently working with Hexaware Technologies as a business process consultant after passing out from the MHRM IIT Kharagpur course in 2023. Dhruv, first of all, welcome to the channel. How are you? How are you doing?
Thank you, Somaji, for this introduction. I'm doing pretty good. And I'm happy to connect with you all and answer some of your queries regarding the MHRM program.
Great, great. It's a privilege to have you here because many people, Dhruv, I will go straight away to the topic. Many people have been asking, what is MHRM? What are the best HR courses in the country? And a lot of questions here and there. We are going to come to one by one, the placement scenario, the fees and everything about it. But to give a brief, if I would ask you from your perspective, for those who don't know or those who inquired specifically for MHRM, both of them, what is exactly the MHRM course at IIT Kharagpur that we are talking about today? I would like you to give a little bit of light on that. And I would like you to talk, when you talk about MHRM course, I would like to talk some basic aspects like the fees, the batch strength, the average salary, the placement structure, the course structure, and other interesting things that you feel are relevant information apart from the basic informations that I have already told about. So I would like you to go straight away to explaining the people what is the MHRM course at IIT Kharagpur.
So let me give you a brief history about MHRM. So I would say MHRM would be a younger form of HR MBA that it started at IIT Kharagpur, but it's a modified version of an MTech. So previously, before 1990s, it used to be an MTech in HR and organizational development. Then post changes and VGSOM adapting to MBA reforms brought in by VGSOM and our current chancellors and everything. So it transitioned from an MTech to an MHRM and started recruiting via CAT. Earlier, it used to recruit via gate exams. You had to clear the primitive gate exams as you do usually for all MTech courses. Now, the purpose behind transition from MTech to MHRM was that since the course was basically training HRs for mostly PSU, so like we have a good hiring for PSUs from MHRM courses. So they thought, why not transition into a core MBA like course that could create HR leaders, especially for the PSU. So hence the journey was of that of MHRM as a course. It's a core course from the departments of humanities, social sciences, and economics, the core department that conducts the BTech and MTech in economics as well. And for the recruitment, I would say the selection is based on the CAT score. Till now, until the current batch, the selection has been CAT score, wherein again, there's a short list. As you know, a general engineering would need to get 90 plus percentile and so on and so forth. There's a cutoff list that usually comes out, and post your CAT scores, there's a GD and a PI that is conducted by, again, professors from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences and some supporting professors from VGSOM to create a small but yet a good cohort of MHRM students. Usually the batch size is between, so the maximum size is 40, but it fluctuates between 25, 30, 35, depending on the input. So like, it's not that they want to fill in the seats. They look at the overall quality of the cohort, as we have seen throughout all the courses in IIT Kharagpur. That's their main purpose. And the requirement is similar to what VGSOM has. You need to have a bachelor's degree that is 4 years in education. It might be BTech, it might be BE, it might be B Pharma, BArch, whatever. And if you have done a 3 years bachelor's, like a BBA or a BCom, you need to have a master's, a 5 years of education to be eligible to apply for MHRM at IIT Kharagpur. And as I mentioned, the cohort is quite small. So there's a good ratio of student to professors, and all of the professors are quite supportive. And from an industry perspective, I would say it's a still growing course. It's not reached yet the level of an HR course that an XLRI or TIS has, but it is competing with the courses like XISS Ranchi, XIIM Bhubaneswar, reaching to IIM Ranchi. And the NMIMS core HR courses. So I would say, given the restricted resources in a central university and with the inputs from professors, the course is growing. Soon will reach to the levels of artists and XLRI HR courses. As for the placements, I would say placements are pretty good. So we have a good hire for PSUs like this year. As I know, some of our juniors have joined REC, the PSU in Maharashtra, for their summer internships. Gale usually comes into hire during the final placements for their HR roles. Then there are a lot of companies. We had Hexaware Technologies, Capgemini, Morgan Stanley, the highest payer that hired from MHRM. We had people who did even SIP at Lyceum. So there are a lot of companies that hire on a scale. We would say the package, the average package, the mean would be between 15 or 16 LPA, and it comes down to your own personal skill sets. The college is going to help you get interviews, but again, it comes down to your own personal skills. Get what do you vision of yourself in your career, and how do you crack those interviews. Apart from that, the college is going to support you to the highest level wherever it's humanly possible for them. And again, the professors are quite welcoming. And I would say the differentiator for me was there's a emphasis on academic research as well. So as part of the MHRM, there are subjects in operations research and research methodologies. So they will give you a good background how to conduct research, write papers. And we have a lot of life projects that we need to do as part of a curriculum and a final thesis to get your degree. So it's not just that you have to clear all the exams. There's a final thesis project and viva that you need to clear just to get your degree as well. So it's a 6 month long, a semester long subject, and it's a huge 5 credit subject. So you need to put in an effort to conduct research, get the thesis done. So this kind of exposure helps. So like from my purview, like I plan to go further in the academics, so it has quite helped me a lot. And there were a lot of electives in economics as well, apart from the core HR courses that give you a good understanding of the business economics as well. So we have a course called labor economics. As an HR, you need to understand how the current environment, like the recession or inflation, affects the choices that the workforce has and the amount of expenditure the companies are willing to invest on the people management. So subjects like labor economics also help us to give a purview from an economic and a business point of view. So I would say the course has been great. And for the people that are looking at MHRM as an option, I would say if you're looking at a good public university that offers a great HR course and within a budget. So let me mention why MHRM is a great differentiator among all of these HR MBAs is the collective fees that is only 4.5 lakh rupees for 2 years, including your residence at the IIT Kharagpur campus. If you see other HR MBA courses like TIC and NMIMS, the fees itself is 20 lakh per annum. And then there's a living cost because they don't have an income in campus residence. And living in the suburbs of Mumbai is quite expensive. So you see, like you're paying 5 lakhs for a 2 years course with your residence and a 30 lakh at an NMIMS. So from my personal experience, I had an offer from IMT. I dropped out of IMT and switched it to MHRM IIT Kharagpur. So in that sense, I would say the whole program looks like.
Great, Dhruv. What I hear you saying a lot of things, and you give a very detailed purview to how the MHRM course is. What I hear you saying, if I have to summarize and highlight in particular, it's an extended version of MTech, which kind of takes care of the human resource management part as well. And it is growing at par to XIMB, Bhubaneswar, and NMIMS, I can say, but trying to achieve the status that XLRI or TIS has currently, catching up with that. What I hear you see is the differentiator is the fees, right? Fees and the course structure. It's a very detailed course structure, which will give you a very kind of an academic approach, which will help you in further studies or even pursue your career in multiple fields because you have an exposure of other business domains as well. You spoke about the fees, which is just 4.5 to 5 lakh rupees with a stay in the campus, which is far off from what we see at NMIMS or other colleges also, XLRI, right? 25, 26 lakh. बहुत खर्चा होता है लोगों का. Like if somebody wants to really do it for, I would say there's a language in stock market called the penny stocks. So if somebody really wants to have the value derive the value, they can actually, get this course as one of their, one of their assets in their portfolio. So that is summarizing the entire, and the batch strength also, you mentioned that it is around 25 to 30, ranging up to 40 and 50, depends on the year. Lot depends on personal skills, but I would like you to emphasize a little bit more on the placement process, because people are very interested. As you told, 15-16 lakh ka average hota hai, but skills differentiator ho jati hai, right? Somebody with different skill set might bank a better job. And also, as far as my experience is concerned, I feel it is to some extent, some randomness is also there when it comes to the placement season, right? You don't
Yes.
know what would happen, but you have to get your best foot forward. So I would like you to explain the placement procedure, because many people were actually interested in it. Like, how can you bank a good above average salary? Also, if you end up at a below average salary, what is going to be the state of affairs? How can you take promotions in the corporate culture or switch companies? How does that journey of placement and ahead looks when, as far as MHRM is concerned, like the future scope or the placement scenario as a whole currently, how does it look?
So again, we have a normal placement process like VG SOMAS. We have an SIPs and a placement that go hand in hand starting from the September. As soon as we begin our curriculum in August, and it goes up till November, December. The process is long. So there are companies that would come in early, the highest payers, the highest selectors that would come in only between September and November, where they would hire. So like Gale, a major recruiter, comes in October. So it's a week-long process. So they have the HR team from Gale comes in on the campus, and they conduct one-on-one panel interviews. It's not just like one-on-one interviews, a panel interviews. And those are senior leaders from HR, like having an experience of 25, 30 years within Gale, within the HR system. So they have a good experience, especially from the labor law and economics point of view, where the core emphasis lies during the recruitment. Because as an HR working in a POC, you need to be well aware of the labor laws, because you have to deal with unions and day workers on a day-to-day basis. So how do you tackle challenges with them? Then here your skill set would have come in. What are your communication skills? What are your negotiation skills? What an MBA or an HR course would do is teach you a theoretical language, but on a practical language, you need to understand the dynamics of a negotiation that is going on. And as an HR, when you're working in departments like managing labor, compensation, you need to have a good hang of the negotiation skills and what the environment and the business environment is all about. So these are certain skills that you need to work on. Second skill, I would say, is analytics. Irrespective whether you're doing HR, marketing, operations, finance, analytics is a must-have. From my background, let me give you, I was a pharmacy student, didn't have much coding and analytics experience, but I had a knack for learning. And that knack of learning got me a role that is quite different from a typical HR role that you would expect. So currently I work as a consultant for change management and automation delivery for healthcare and life sciences industry. So my experience in life sciences and a knack for analytics got me a more like a business oriented or a client oriented role rather than a primitive HR oriented role. And as I mentioned, I want to move forward in the academics as well. So it is helping me in a long way. So like working on an HR courses, then to suggesting automation and technologies for a life sciences industry, that's a 180-degree pivot, I would say, for people that go into HR. So in that sense, again, this comes down to your skill set. Then again, there's a randomness. You don't know what the HR that has come to hire on the campus has in mind. According to you have ticked all the right boxes to be able to be shortlisted and interviewed and get selected in the company, but there might be a scenario you won't, but the other person that you would thought I have more capability is got selected. So there's that randomness. You aren't aware what the HR or the hiring manager is thinking about. What you need to work around is that you have ticked all the boxes and there's no scope of error from your side, because in the current market it's getting a lot of competitive and we are facing a recession as well in the couple of coming years. So this year we have seen a downfall in the workforce hiring, and in the next year also we are expecting a tight hiring season. So again, everyone needs to work on their skill set to avoid those randomness and be perfect on your end. So the opportunity would come. It's all about patience. People tend to lose patience, I would say. That's the differentiator among the highest getter and the people who panic.
Correct. So Dhruv, what I hear you saying is a lot of perseverance, a lot of patience, and a lot of learning flexibility. You have to learn new skill set. You have to be open to those You cannot be stringent that, and I keep on stressing on this to people. I myself, being a core engineer, had left coding for quite a few years, and people say that they also are afraid of coding, or they don't want to face it upright. But somewhere down the line, you have to face the reality, right? And nowadays, you don't even need to code, but you need to understand the algorithms. You need to
Understand, yeah.
understand the technology that works. If you understand that, you are
Yeah.
good to go. Is what I keep on stressing to people, that don't be afraid. Nobody will ask you to
Mhm.
develop a program, or nobody will ask you to develop an app or website. Even needed, so you will have several guides to help you. But the fundamental is your learning ability. If you are afraid and take a step back before even taking a step forward, you're always in the game, running backwards. Uh, so that was the placement process, Dhruv. I would like you to take us through the admission process a bit, though you mentioned it while you were briefing about the course. Uh, what do you think is the make or break? Like, what are the prerequisites once what are the exams? What are the cutoffs? What are the percentiles that you need to get? How do you apply? What is the application procedure? What do they exactly look into the candidate while they select the candidate? If you could highlight a bit for the students that are applying for the course there, a bit.
Yeah, so let me mention the prerequisites. First and foremost is you need to have a good CAT score. Uh, as most of the MBA colleges, you need to clear the CAT exam, get a percentile. That makes you eligible to apply for the MHRM program or any MBA program. That's the basic prerequisite. From an admissions point of view, as I mentioned, you need to have a 4 years bachelor's. That may be BE, BTech, BSc, BPharm, BArch, anything, a 4 years bachelor's. If you have a 3 years bachelor's, like a BB or a BCom, you need to have a master's as well. So either a 4 years or a 5 years of education to be eligible to apply for the program. Then the admission process. So I don't know what's that for OBC or the reservations, but as far as for general, I know it was 90 percentile. I had a 94. The batchmates that I had were in the similar lane, 93, 94, 95. That's the percentile range for the general candidates, especially the male candidates. And once you have got your CAT score, you need to fill out this form. So I think so forms are due by 31st of January, wherein you have to fill out a separate form like VG form for MHRM IIT Kharagpur. Then once the forms are filled, there comes an shortlist for interview call. So there's an interview that was conducted virtually, but this year some were called offline. There were interviews conducted in Delhi and Mumbai. So they are again transitioning back to the old ways of interviewing in person around major cities. And in that interview, first it's a GDPI round, but we are kind of modifying into an extempore round. So you will be provided a random topic that you need to speak about. And once your GDP or extempore is done, there's a personal interview. It would be a panel of 3 professors from MHRM, from humanities or a BTech department, from VGSOMs. The panel is random. You can't be sure who's going to come in panel. And there are 3 or 4 panels that run simultaneously. So they would like to understand like why you are going to come into an HR course. So because since it's a specific HR course, so you have decided to come into the HR as a profession, and they want to see why, and whether it's just for the sake of doing an MBA or are you genuinely interested in the learning over here. So that's what they kind of test over here. And apart from that, your basic knowledge. So like if you say you are a BTech CAC student, you should know the fundamentals of CAC. So that's something that they would look at. That's the basic admissions process that's gonna look like. And it's across the board, like irrespective of reservation, cutoffs, anything. The process is going to be similar for each and every one of you. That's what I want to say.
Great, great. While we know the admission process and its nitty-gritties, the transparency and the cutoffs, I would like you to tell us your preparation journey. How did it start? Why did you choose to do an HR? You have already talked a bit about it. You got IMT Ghaziabad, which means that you might have been parallelly applying for MBA courses as well, I believe. So, what was the motivation, and what drove you in? What was your preparation journey like? And the tips and tricks and the fundamentals that you need to build on to get into the course.
Uh, I would say my plan to CAT and an HR course was something that I didn't plan for. It was an unplanned journey. So I graduated in amidst the middle of the pandemic in October, November 2020. So I had plans to pursue health economics, to be frank. And that's what I wanted to move forward in the field, because as I mentioned, I wanted to be in the healthcare and life sciences industry. So plans were disrupted, don't know what to do. So my sister, she's herself an HR from XLRI. So I've seen the holy grails of HRs in my family. So my sister's from XLRI, my brother-in-law's from IIM Lucknow, my aunt is from ISB. So they like kind of motivated me to just go for CAT. I was working as well when I graduated. So I've seen experience the supply chain amongst the pandemic as well. That was also a great learning, because in the pandemic, supply chain was a major issue. So I applied for CAT since everything was neck to neck towards the end. Like I filled the form on the last day. I had done preparation by myself, no coaching, no books, nothing. It was me, my CAT past year papers, my mock test. That's it. I barely could give only 2 or 3 mock tests. That's the highest. But I had a confidence on my skill set, what was there for DILR and for quantitative. I was confident with DILR. That stresses a lot of people, but I was confident and I scored 100 percentile in DILR. My score went off with the verbal section. Pointer was also good. But again, so it was something that I did on my own, didn't have those experts or shortcuts for me. So again, went ahead with that. I didn't even expect my CAT score to be that great. But when I attempted the exam, and there was a format change. So amidst the COVID, they reduced the time from 3 hours to 2 hours, and there were 3 slots. So we didn't know what the question paper is going to be looking like. So there would be a reduction in the number of questions, or it's going to remain the same. But when I gave the exam, like I wasn't confident, like whether I'll be able to qualify that. On the result day, I didn't even look at my score. It was my sister who looked at the score. She messages me in the night, like, why haven't you checked your score? You should. I said it's not happening. Then she informed me I've scored 94, 95%. And that was again a shocker for me. So then I applied to multiple colleges, MHRM, IMT, whatever the colleges I was eligible for. I got a shortlist for IIM Bodh Gaya, IIM Jammu. But still I preferred MHRM. First was their ROI. And as I mentioned, like there's a DSE HR. It's at par and better than that. JBIMS has also recently started its HR courses, so you could see there's a interest coming in or building in for the HR courses as well within the industry, because pandemic gave HRs an opportunity to be the change makers. Amidst the pandemic, it wasn't the tech guys or the consultant; it was the HRs who managed the workforce to transition from an offline work environment to a virtual work environment for the company to run properly. It was the HRs who looked after that. So, what motivated me was the change management aspect of it. I had an experience in operation supply chain. I have a engineering background, a pharmacy chemical engineering background. I know how operations work. I had the technical knowledge. Why to waste on that? I wanted to build on a skill since I worked in a supply chain, that too in a pharmaceutical industry. My day-to-day interaction as an assistant planner with the laborers, how to manage people on the ground, manage the production. So that's why I got interested to HR. And as I said, I want to further move within the healthcare industry. Is the people management skill in healthcare that gets the best out of you. The vaccines weren't developed by some computers or coders. It was the people who developed them. So that's how I have transitioned into HR and my whole journey as an HR. And as I mentioned, these HR learnings helped me bag my current role at XIMB Technologies. I'm not working in core HR. I'm working in change management and digital transformation for life sciences. So that's how I decided on HR and my thinking towards HR as in courses.
Great, Dhruv. You really motivating words, and how you have put a perspective to it, that people are the change makers. It's for the people, by the people, of the people. So ultimately, it's about the people and how you see the things around them, right? And how you make them more effective to deliver on what they deliver. So going straight away to the MHRM course, you have mentioned all about the fringes of it, like the shines of the shines on the outer side of it, right? The fees or the packages. We have emphasized on the number of seats, the batch strength, and all of that. But I would like you to go a little detailed on how rigorous or interesting the course was. One part is that for you, what did you feel was interesting? The other part being, how does it compare? You said that we are of late trying to achieve the status of XLRI or TIS. How far are we off from there, and why are we off from there? Like, what makes their course a little different, apart from obviously the alumni base and the repute that they have built over the years? In terms of pedagogy, what did you find different? What was very interesting and challenging at the same point of time here? I would like you to take the people through the MHRM course a little bit, if you could.
Okay, so for the rigorous, let me tell you, across IIT Kharagpur, we have a semester system instead of trimester system. So trimester system tends to be a more rigorous than a semester system in terms of the number of subjects and the number of exams that you need to clear in a trimester compared to a semester. At a course level, there are core HR courses like OD and change management, organizational development, uh, psychology, HRM, compensation management. These are same across most of the HR courses, and these are core HR courses that you are required to have as a skill set to be a successful HR. There are a lot of fillers and electives, but I would say these are the core HR courses. And second is the emphasis on international HRM that we have at IIT Kharagpur, that some of these courses like NMIMS or IMT would be missing, but there's there in the TIS and XLRI. Because international HRM and the legals of that are quite interesting if you develop an app for it. Then I would say from a pedagogy point of view, our professors are great. The curriculum is great. There are certain aspects of life projects and research that are missing compared to TIS and XLRI, where we are trying to achieve that. Uh, on an average, for each and every class at the TIS and XLRI, they have a life project with an industry. So that's a differentiator, more of a practical learning that they have compared to an IIT Kharagpur. Like they have 6 live projects, you would have 3 or 4 live projects. So those 2 live projects are the differentiation. And as you mentioned, the alumni base and a reputation, because they are quite old programs. They have been existing since the independence. So that's, I would say, the differentiator. From a curriculum point of view, rigorous, it comes down to you. So I didn't find it much rigorous because what I preferred was an active learning in class. So an active learning also get you scores as well, because you need to interact with the professor, question it, be active in the class. If you are active in the class and an active learner, you don't need to just scrunch through those theoretical books. Your notes, your active learning are enough for you to clear all those quizzes and exams. That was my way. For some, it was rigorous. It comes down to your personal skill sets, I would say. I find it light, not that rigorous, because I preferred active learning. There wasn't a moment that once I have had a good learning in class, I had to come back on my room and go through those books. I was well aware. I just used to skim through the chapters. Yes, I know this, I know this, this is this, this is this, and I was a happy goer to the exam. So again, I would say that's again on your personal skill set. Rigorous, if you make it rigorous, it's gonna look like rigorous. It's rigorous, but you feel it's doable. There's a psychology involved. So again, you wouldn't feel it rigorous. So that's my take on this.
Great, great, Dhruv. To each its own is what you are saying, as correctly stated by you. After doing all of this, right, the course and everything, the final question that I would and I would like to end the interaction with this my second last question, the closing question rather, I would say. Do you think it is really worth it, the course of MHRM at IIT Kharagpur? And would you recommend this course to others as your sister and aunt did to you, that you should take the HR? Would you recommend it to the youngsters out there? And how do the people know that they are a right fit for this role? How do they judge that whether they should take it or not? What is that one hook that they should look out for? If you would please answer.
So yeah, so again, I would recommend this course to anyone. So like, if you're getting TIS Accelerate, that's great. But if you're not getting that and you are sure you want to do an HR, like extremely short, instead of an NMIMS or these private colleges, I would recommend you to look into MHRM IIT Kharagpur as a whole. Yes, they have a large batch sizes. They have external consulting firms to conduct their placement processes. So they feel kind of professional. It's here you, your colleagues, your professors that work hand in hand to get placements for your students. So that's a different journey compared to those private hiring or the hiring managers that they have in their campuses to get your placements. But again, as I mentioned, it's on your skill set. If you're good enough, you have developed your skill set, you have understood what the industry wants, what the hiring managers want, you're gonna bag and good placement in companies like Morgan Stanley. As you know, we have Nomura coming. Nomura's CHRO is an MHRM alumni. He conducts case competition across VGSOM and MHRM every year for IIT Kharagpur. So again, it's an open process. If you have the skill sets, you can bag it. This year, 2 people from VGSOM, 2 people from MHRM have bagged an SIP with Nomura. And they've competed with the likes of IIM Calcutta and Bangalore for these SIPs. So again, it's on your skill set. I would totally recommend this course. If you're looking into an options for HR that's has a great ROI and a reputation that is building, because IIT Kharagpur has a global reputation. So that's an add-on for each and every course that you do at IIT Kharagpur. I totally recommend it.
Great, Dhruv. What I hear you saying, summarizing, is the course is a great, great takeaway for you, served in a platter, because the ROI is superb, the brand name is superb. There are some alumni who are very prominent in their field, as you told, the Nomura CHRO being an MHRM alumni themselves. So overall, a course to recommend. What I hear Dhruv saying is, to each its own. And if HR is something that interests you, change management, people management, economics as a whole, that has to do with people, because ultimately it's the people, as we have been discussing for the last half an hour, right? If you are really interested with that, the honest suggestion that Dhruv is giving is you should go for it. So that was it. I think that brings us to the end of the conversation today. A lot of good topics discussed with you, Dhruv. Really, really a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for, accepting my invite to come to the channel and speak to the folks, because they have been asking. I've been repeatedly getting requests on my videos, previous videos, that talk about MHRM at IIT Kharagpur, talk about MHRM. MHRM karna chahiye, nahi karna chahiye. People were in a lot of dilemma. Thank you again for coming to the channel and clearing that for the students. If you have to summarize a one-liner, I would not take much of your time. It's a one-liner. Any last minute, that one tip that you would like to give to the students out there?
I would say just be easy, decide whether you want to do HR or not. If you want to do, you can look at IIT Kharagpur. As I mentioned, like I also took that risk. I also had questions like you about MHRM. But once I took that risk, I got to know about the course. I decided to come over here. So be easy, just do your research, feel confident what's good for you and how you want to proceed further in your career. That's it.
Great, great. That's a great tip. Just let it flow. If you feel that you want to do it, just go ahead and explore the opportunity, is what Dhruv says, and I completely agree with him. So thank you very much once again, Dhruv, for attending this session. It was the 14th episode, and we are off to bringing more academia and industry experts like Dhruv with us today. Stay subscribed to the channel, hit the bells icon, hit the likes button, share it with your friends. This channel has more content. In the upcoming days, we are going to bring more experts like Dhruv in the upcoming journey. Thank you again, Dhruv, for attending today's session. I think we are done for the day. Thank you very much, everyone, for being so patient and so attentive. Thank you.